Thanks for coming. Always like to lighten the mood. Who has music on in the background? Nice chime, I like that. So these were submitted by residents, the entire batch, in case I get blamed. I'll have a cheeseburger, large fries, and black coffee. I'm starting to think retesting seniors for driving isn't a bad idea. Autumn Years Dating Agency. It says here that you prefer someone with regular bowel movements. It doesn't matter if they're involuntary. I imagine it probably does. Again, these were submitted by residents, right? Okay. I always say that. Lately, I've been feeling lethargic, listless, and apathetic. And if I stand up too suddenly, I get dizzy. My daughter says she has to smoke 2 joints to feel like that. Well, there you go. My life broken down into segments. Sleeping, pretty large part of the pie. Working, eating, looking for things I had just a minute ago. Much larger as you get older. Is that true?
That's very true.
Yeah. There's no words to this one. Surely not. Surely not. That doesn't feel at all like a mailbox. See, I told you they were a bad idea, but no, you had to have the heated seats. So I'm wanting to, I will add a personal note here. I'm wanting to take a trip up to the northeast of the United States, up in, Delaware, Connecticut, New York, Maine. I've never been there. We've gone to about 32 states at this point, my family and I. And we've never been up north. It's a long drive up there, but I want to do it I want to drive because I want to see the countryside and everything. But I bought a new, it's a new to me, Expedition, because it had air-conditioned seats, and I sat in a rental one time that had air-conditioned seats. And if you've never driven or ridden in a car that has air-conditioned seats, it's a fantastic experience. I won't tell you why it's a fantastic experience, but just imagine cool air being blown. Never mind. I'll leave it alone. I made my dad laugh really hard with that one. He's like, makes trips much more pleasant. Only moments away from putting the finishing touch on his new 2-seater outhouse, Clem never knew what hit him. I'll let that rest with you just a moment. All submitted by residents, I promise. A true friend is a work of heart. To all my friends and relatives who sent me best wishes, chain letters, angel letters, or other promises of good luck, none of that shit worked. Could you please just send cash, vodka, chocolate, Italian food, wine, or airline tickets instead? Thank you. All of these were submitted by residents. I'll keep reminding you. You can substitute broccoli for the asparagus, but you can't substitute another glass of wine for the fries. That makes sense, doesn't it? Hey Dad, can I use the lawnmower to make some extra money? You sure can, son. Left home without your money, did you? And his pants. In my day, we didn't have twittering, we had twiddling. That's right, we twiddled our thumbs and we liked it. We liked it fine. I made you a cup of tea, dear. I'm over here. If that's my wife, I'm not here. Things you will never hear. Yes, I do have grandkids, and no, I don't have any photos of them in my cubicle. I forgot to put my grandkids' picture in this. All 8 of them. I will do that next time. I'm sorry. I almost have a baseball team. All right, questions and answers. Most of the questions were about elevators and fire alarms. So we combined those, yes. At this Tuesday morning ladies' coffee and donut hour in the solarium, the topic of the fire alarm that went off in the Preston during the early hours of Tuesday, May 20th. A fire truck arrived soon after the alarm sounded. The consensus of our group was that we really don't know what the procedure is when a fire alarm goes off. What if there were the need for an evacuation? Will there be an announcement telling us to proceed to the nearest exit? Will those that are reliant on wheelchairs or walkers be given specific instructions? What are the procedures? During a fire alarm, we ask that residents shelter in place and await further instruction on the all-call system. In the event of an actual emergency, the evacuation announcement will be made on the all-call system, and staff and/or emergency personnel will assist residents, including those with mobility issues, out of the building. We kindly ask that you avoid calling the front desk during the alarm, so our phone lines remain open for communication with emergency services. When the alarm sounds, we all know it. It's very loud. So calling the front desk really is not very helpful. All of the buildings Westminster operates are designed into fire zones. You know those big doors that close when the alarm goes off? Those are fire doors, and those separate the zones of the building. All of the buildings that Westminster operates are type 2 construction, so they're concrete and steel. The likelihood of a fire getting out of an apartment is pretty unlikely. It's almost zilch. When we sprinkle the Preston building, it'll be really zilch. But we've had fires actually in the Preston building. Someone caught their kitchen on fire one time. Anybody remember that a few years ago? Yeah. It never left the apartment. The smoke did, but the fire did not. It was put out quickly. It took about 20 minutes. The apartments themselves are basically 20-minute fire zones. And then beyond that is a 2-hour fire zone. So if we ever evacuated, we would not evacuate the whole building, we would evacuate a fire zone. So a zone on each floor. So we would move the residents that are in the fire zone that is actually on fire. We would move you to the exterior of those fire doors. And so you would be safe there for up to 2 hours. The fire department's gonna put out the fire. We have a standpipe system on the side of the building, and it brings plenty of water to the campus. And then, as I said, in the Windsor building and the Carlisle building, those buildings are sprinkled. So when that little capsule melts at the top of that sprinkler head, it will burst and then suppress the fire inside the apartment. So the likelihood that the entire building ever catches on fire is not gonna happen, okay? And also, I think there's some misunderstandings about fire sprinkler systems. I know that because the fire alarm goes off and it's false alarms or events that really don't matter to the rest of you, like somebody putting their oatmeal on for 30 minutes instead of 3 minutes, that actually happens. And it does set off the smoke alarm in the apartment. And if you won't open the door to the hall, it won't set off the rest of the alarms. But if you open the door to the hall, it will set off the rest of the alarms. And that means everybody gets it, right, in that building. Most of the events that we have are small events. Somebody burnt toast, right? and they're pretty quickly extinguished, or they put fans in the windows, and it's not a big deal. On May the 20th, that alarm sounded for a long time, right?
Yes.
It was about 30 minutes, my understanding. And what happened then, and it might have felt like 3 hours, right? I know because it's really loud. What happened then, they could not identify the source of the smoke. And what had happened was a dryer had towels in it that had been processed, and they were sitting and they were smoldering. And most of the smoke was exiting the vent, which is typically what happens with, dryer vents. So the smoke was in weird places, not immediately ascertainable to where the location of the fire was. There was actually no fire, but it was smoke and smoldering. When that happens, and you can't identify the location of the fire, the potential fire, the alarm has to sound until you find it. They won't let you turn it off. So it took them quite a while to find the location. It was really our security staff and the fire department working together that identified the location of the fire. Question. My wife and I are asking if it is possible to lower the loudness of the indoor fire alarms in our apartment. The National Fire Protection Association states that it is permissible to set the loudness of an indoor fire alarm at 35 decibels above the ambient sound level indoors. The ambient sound level in our apartment is typically between 38 and 43 decibels. So an NFPA compliant fire alarm could be set at a level of 73 to 78 decibels, which is around 20 decibels less loud than our fire alarms are currently set. Answer, we appreciate your concern and understand how loud fire alarms can be, especially in residential settings. However, current fire code regulations require that fire alarm sound levels meet specific minimum thresholds to ensure occupant safety. According to NFPA 72, audible alarms must be at least 15 decibels above the ambient sound level, or at least 75 decibels in sleeping areas, whichever is greater. In many cases, especially in apartment buildings, alarms are set to around 85 to 90 decibels to ensure they are heard clearly through closed doors and over background noise. While these may exceed the minimum in some quieter environments, it is often necessary to meet local code enforcement and safety standards. Unfortunately, this means we are not able to lower the volume of the alarms, as doing so could compromise compliance and, more importantly, resident safety during an emergency. And then I provide the information. You can go look it up. This question's asked a lot, and we have asked the fire marshal here locally, because jurisdiction having authority does have some flexibility with this, but we're told no, we cannot adjust them down. Okay. What ideally we just have less, right? So less, meaning none or fewer. So the fire marshal actually sent me an email this morning that said that basically that we should stop allowing you to cook in your apartments. And that we should set up toasters in common areas and you can toast your toast there. How many is for that? Oh, nobody, okay. So, some of the fire alarms are not real, right? So we've had some alarms recently that are going off because they're testing the system. And what we did was, because we'd had so many issues with the Preston fire alarm panel going off and not correctly handling fire alarms at times, we replaced it with a new one, which seemed like a good idea until you actually do it. And then you have issues with the new one because of programming or whatever. So they've been doing some testing. On Friday, they did a bunch of testing to make sure that the system works, which is what they have to do before they're allowed to take a system off of test and to activate the alarm system and then leave the building, right? They sent out a memo, but I think it came out late. They sent it out as soon as they knew the testing was necessary, but Plan Ops, unfortunately, the testing had already began. The fire marshal is on us a lot about how often the alarms go off here. They are set to, the smoke detectors are set to the medium setting. You're considered a vulnerable population. Any of you feel vulnerable? Some of you? Yeah. So that's one of the reasons the smoke detectors are so sensitive. And we do want sensitive smoke detectors, but we don't want to set them off for silly reasons like sheetrock dust or not turning your cook stove vent on in your apartment when you're frying something like bacon, or when you're burning your toast, you leave it unattended, which does happen. There's a lot of reasons smoke detectors go off, and they are very sensitive. The best thing to do, if you do burn something like toast or bacon or oatmeal or something like that, turn your vent on, open your window, call for assistance. We will come anyway, but do not open the hallway door unless your apartment's really on fire. If it's really on fire, open the door. Get out. But if it's just a little bit of burnt toast, don't open your hallway door because it's going to set off the whole building, okay? And we are working diligently to fix the fire alarm system and make sure that it's working properly. They are going to be doing some more testing over the next few days to make sure that it's addressing the fire detection. So if, for instance, one of the things that's occurring is a smoke detector will go off in an area that is not identified by anything we know it to be. Like if Harrisville Hall went off right now, it might be code 1137456. We don't know what that is. It needs to be addressed properly as Harrisville Hall so that our concierge security can respond to the right area. And so they're going through a process of reprogramming the fire panel to make sure that it identifies the correct area and by the correct name. And until they get that complete, which should be this week, they'll be testing it some more. Question. Early evening on Sunday, there was a trail of water on the floor from pool to the Windex elevator. I hate calling it Windex, but it's the Windsor expansion. Right? There are puddles and pools of water outside and inside the elevator. This is not only a safety hazard, but makes a preventable mess left for others to clean up. Can you please ask swimmers to dry off all over with a towel before leaving the pool area? Absolutely. We kindly ask that, this is a recent occurrence, I don't remember this happening before. We kindly ask that all residents thoroughly dry off with a towel, which we provide, by the way, before leaving the pool area. This helps keep our shared spaces safe and clean for everyone. Thank you for helping us maintain a comfortable and hazard-free environment. Anybody want to slip and fall and break a hip or anything? Not me. Anybody want to cause it? I didn't think so. So let's be good neighbors and dry ourselves off before we get into the hallway, okay? Before we leave the pool, dry off. There are towels available. Question. Elevators in all 3 buildings are broken extremely often and take so long to be repaired. Just this past Friday evening, an older Preston resident and her guests were trapped in the Harrisville Hall elevator until the fire department came and released them. Please discuss this and talk about the steps to take if a resident is caught in an elevator. Is pushing the emergency button the best thing to do first? Yes. Pushing the emergency button is the first step. This notifies the monitoring company and begins the dispatch process. Also, if you have a cell phone, call Westminster's main line, and that's also a great idea. We've had a lot of elevator issues. We have 16 elevators on the campus, which is about 15 too many. When you have elevators, they will break down. Harrisville Hall elevator has been one of the most error-free elevators for years. It has broken down recently a lot, feels like. There was an issue where it was broken down for some time because of packing that needed to be purchased, and it was purchased and it has been repacked. And it's had some control issues that have been repaired as well. The elevator that's in the Windsor expansion today is broke down. You can get in it and you can stop on every floor except 3 and 4. So that doesn't help us, right? We need to make sure the elevator's completely working. So they're working on that now. It's probably a programming issue. It could be something as little as a power surge, unfortunately, that disrupts the computer program on a control board. So a lot of times they have to reset the system. We can't reset the system. If we do, the elevator company comes out and you can't tell what's wrong with it because it's been reset, right? So it takes a while for folks that can properly diagnose the issue to come out and solve the problem. I know that elevators are very important to all of us. And I know that there's a lot of people here that deal with pain and mobility issues, and elevators are super important. And so we are absolutely doing everything that we can to get the elevators up and running and keep them that way. There's a couple, I have a list of elevator issues, and I asked for a report for the last year. It's like 26 pages of elevator work orders that have been put in. I talked to you about Harris Bell Hall's elevator and the repacking. We also have an elevator number 2 in the Preston building, which is actually an elevator that has just been recently modernized, right? They modernized it and put a hydraulic cooler in to help maintain the life of that elevator. That hydraulic cooler failed in the first 2 weeks that it was installed. Brand new piece of equipment. Has not been replaced yet. But the elevators are working, but it's not ideal. We want to put in a hydraulic cooler so it will keep the elevators cool because they're in heavy use, and that will extend its useful life. And then we want to do that same hydraulic cooler to all of the elevators to help maintain their useful life as well, and it's supposed to be better for the machines. But if I order one and they install it and it's junk, do I want to commit to ordering a bunch more? No, I don't. I want them to prove to me that they can do a job and that they can fix the elevator. We also have an elevator A-wing that has a leak of hydraulic fluid. We've ordered a new tank for it. Remember I talked to you all about that and how I felt like they were treating us like a dorm because they were band-aiding an issue instead of solving it. So I told them I want to solve it. We ordered a tank that day that I was talking to you about it, and it hasn't arrived yet. And it won't arrive for a couple more weeks. As soon as it comes in though, we plan to install it and solve that issue permanently. But again, it's just shipping and delays of parts and things like that. Somebody sent a question in about the hot tub. Yes, the temperature's great, but the jets don't work, right? They haven't worked for some time. We ordered a part for it 6 months ago. Still hasn't arrived. Just an example. In the Windsor, we have another leaking tank, which is being replaced. It's a small leak though, and it's not causing the elevator to go down, but it is being replaced because we want to make right everything that goes wrong. If something goes wrong here, we want to make it right, 100%. So we're not band-aiding anything. So this is actually the question about the hot tub. But is perfect? The temperature is perfect, but is there a possibility that we could get the jets fixed as well? And that's our intent. Nothing happens when you push the wall button to activate the jets. So I mentioned that, and we will get it addressed as quickly as that part comes in. More fire alarms go off so many times during the day and early evening last Friday. And I spoke to that already. That was the testing of the fire alarm system. Had some questions about people washing wanting a pet washing station. We really don't have a place to put one of those right now, but I've been doing business with this Alamo Pet Spa. It's a mobile pet groomer that comes to us and does a really good job and has reasonable pricing. And I asked him if he was interested in serving our population, and he said he would be, if there's interest. So I would ask that if you have interest in having a pet groomer groom your pet here on campus, that you reach out to Heather and give her a phone call. You can call any reception desk and talk to Heather, or email her and tell her you're interested in it. This is the pricing. For us, they're about half the cost of what we used to pay, so it seems pretty reasonable to me. But if there's no interest, we won't do it. If there is interest, and we'll give him a list of folks that are interested, and then he'll set up a day or two, depending on the interest, that he comes here a month. So 1 or 2 days a month where he comes on campus and does this for us, okay? So there's also been some complaints about folks washing pet items, sometimes really dirty pet items, in the residential washing machines and the laundry. And so we've come up with a couple solutions. We're gonna dedicate a set of washers and dryers, they're commercial machines, that'll be located in our Windsor Commercial Laundry that is located in the garage. Residents can call 512-600-7368 to reserve a time slot. This space will be available for use beginning Tuesday, June the 3rd. The hours of operation will be Monday through Friday, 12 to 3 p.m. We ask that residents not wash pet items in the residential washers and dryers located in the laundry rooms, located in the Preston going forward, okay? So, you know, the problem with washing pet items in the residential washers is that we're getting hair in our clothes and pet hair. And we're also getting really dirty machines. And, you know, pet hair is not easy to clean out, can also catch on fire. So we need to be careful about that. We're dedicating this set of washer and dryer because they're commercial machines. We're doing it in our commercial laundry, because that way our staff can look after the machines and make sure that they're properly maintained and clean, okay? There's also a pre-rinse sink. So if you have an item that's really dirty and needs to be kind of pre-washed before it's put in the washing machine, you can do that in that area, okay, and under our staff's supervision. There's also, so an associate will be available for assistance during the time that we're allowing this to occur. Laundry detergent will automatically dispense into the washer. It's a step-by-step laundry guide that'll be posted in the area on how to use it. It's really simple to use machines, and then our staff will be there to educate you as well. Any laundry that has fecal matter or vomit must be rinsed out at the rinsing station inside the laundry room prior to placing any laundry inside the washing machine. Shouldn't have to tell anybody that, right? Okay. There is also a pet laundry service available through Westminster for $15 a load. Starting Tuesday, June 3rd, we will pick up the pet laundry and wash it and drop it back off to you. Same phone number to contact for that, okay? Yes, plan ops updates. So Preston West scaffold is in progress. We're doing window repairs in case anybody was wondering about that. We're doing some what's called wet seal, so basically resealing, caulking the windows, the glass and the metal frame. And then Harris Bell Hall women's restroom renovation still in progress. There's also west scaffolding in progress, estimated 1 month for the installation of chilled water lines for the Preston. And this is part of the air conditioning plumbing replacement project. Okay. Vendor moving materials through Preston Courtyard. So that is the construction project. Taking down with delicate demolition of the beginning of the dining room renovation. So they're doing demo and then they're taking it out to the dumpster. There's also a grease trap cleaning and repair scheduled for Friday the 23rd, which occurred all day beginning at 8 a.m. So if you wondered what that was, that's what that was all about. Back of Preston will be blocked off beginning Thursday, the 22nd at 9 a.m. and then through Tuesday, 5/27. This was for boom lift for testing of Preston windows. So basically, they were spraying them with water to test them, make sure that the seal was good. And then also, they did some concrete repairs on a stormwater drain back there. All community elevators have been labeled on the outside of each cab on each floor. Windsor third floor emergency outlet review installation, this will be completed at another time. Fifth floor Preston laundry room washer dryer machine replacement scheduled for Thursday 15th. That's been stopped. Preston courtyard gazebo, you might have noticed that was removed and repurposed. Preston, I wanted to repurpose it at my place, but I couldn't do it. Preston painting touch-ups is completed. We completed the work on the pergola covers in the Windsor courtyard. And they did that at their expense. That has a 10-year warranty on it, so it's still within warranty. Arbor entrance sidewalk repairs, sorry about that inconvenience, but we had some areas where the concrete was not level and people were tripping over it, and I didn't want to get sued, so we replaced all that sidewalk. If you ever notice an area like that, please report it. I just happened to notice it walking along there one day. I didn't trip over it, thank goodness, but we did receive a schedule, kind of looks like this from the construction folks. This is for the Laurel dining room. I've talked about it previously taking about 9 months. That is what the plan is. I hope to tighten that up a little bit. You can't read this probably. I can't read it either, quite frankly. I will send out a memo though next week with the schedule attached and the sections that we're working on at the time. So probably a 2 to 3 week look to let you know what's going on. But we have started the work. We did receive the permit, and so it's underway. It's a very detailed schedule, probably more detailed than you'll ever want to see, but I'll have it posted on the portal in its totality so that you can enlarge it on your computer screens and look at it in detail. And then I'll provide you updates along the way. I'm not going to go over this slide again, but just in case you forget what your pendants are for, I included this slide so it can be posted on the portal. Anybody get upset about their sports team losing enough to push your pendant? Surely not. I didn't think so. Everybody knows that the green containers are supposed to go back, right? Anybody have a stack of green containers in your apartment? I'm trying to trick you. Nobody's falling for it? Okay. Please send them back. Yeah. Star cards, everybody knows what they're for. And that's all I have. I did include presentation about the final phase, the completion phase, and this will be on the portal. I'm not going to go through it all, and I'll open it up to questions. That's a conservatory. I'm getting questions about this still. Maybe do I need to do another presentation on it? Next time? Next month, okay. I'll do it next month.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, there's been a door installed on the ground floor,
Yes.
and that keeps me from getting to the chapel and to my Bible study on Thursday. Now, I have asked for a fob. There's a couple other people that have chairs like me, and we have to use that large elevator. Is there any solution to the problem?
Yes. Initially, I was going to give fobs out to folks that needed to use that service elevator. Instead, I've decided that the best thing to do is to contact concierge and ask for an escort. Because that door doesn't open by itself. It's not a self-opening door. So I think concierge escorting you through the space would be the best thing to do. It's also a back of the house area and not very safe for residents to go back there by themselves because there's wood pallets moving around and things placed in the corridor. So I think it's safest to just go to the concierge desk and ask them to escort you.
But
Okay.
to get to concierge desk, I can't use the other elevator because the Laurel's closed. I've gotta go all the way around to the other service.
But your scooter can handle it.
Pardon me?
I think your scooter can handle that though, right?
Oh, yeah, I can get around.
And it's
just-
temporary. Hopefully, once the Laurel opens up, you'll have that access
So
again.
there's no possibility of getting a fob.
You can get a fob, but again, getting through that door by yourself, it's a pretty heavy door too. I think it'd be safer to go with concierge.
I think I'm gonna try to get a fob.
Okay.
I think
All right.
I already ordered one.
You ordered one? I just really think it's safer to be escorted by concierge for your own well-being.
Well, I'll think about it.
Okay. Well, I'm not gonna allow them to issue any more fobs.
You're not gonna let me have a fob.
No. And those fobs that have been issued, I'll have discontinued. Because I really want everybody to be safe. That area is a back of the house area, and it's really not meant for residents to walk through or to scoot through it. Okay? Unless you're going to the woodworking shop and working in there, we really shouldn't have anybody going in and out of that space. Okay?
So will there be somebody available Sunday morning to come down here?
Yes. Concierge is available. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. No, you're good. Just speak into the top of it.
I used the laundry room on the 5th floor in the Preston today, and I do not think that we've got new machines yet.
You do not.
We do not. Okay.
Is there something wrong with the machines that are there? No.
They don't stop after 30 minutes,
Mhm.
or you can't open the little filters in the drawer. Little things.
Yeah. I was asked about it, and I was like, I looked at the machines, I'm like, is there anything, I know that there are the residents really like the new machines, is what I'm told. Is that true? Everybody likes the new Preston machines that have rolled out? And I was asked if we should replace the 5th floor, and I was like, is there anything wrong with the machines that are there? And I was told that there wasn't, and they looked okay to me, they're all working, and so I did not decide to replace them. Now, if you tell me that they're not working, I'll have them checked out, and if that's true, we can replace them. But it wasn't planned for, put it that way.
They're working, but
Not as well as the other
just
ones?
not a while ago said they were being replaced.
Okay. Yeah, that was only on the other floors, but I'll look at them. If they're not working well, then we can replace them.
Like I tried to empty the filters in the dryer,
Yeah,
and 2 of them I couldn't even open.
okay.
So,
So that means they're not working then?
yes, it does.
Okay. Yes, sir.
4 or 5 mornings ago, at 3:41 a.m., the fire alarm went off. I'm wondering why.
I was called, my understanding was a fire riser room pressure sensor was activated. So that's what they call a dry system. It has air in the pipes, and if the pressure of that air in the pipes decreases, then the sensor goes off and tells us that there's a problem. And that's what occurred that night, my understanding. And I believe that there was nothing wrong, except the sensor was bad. The sensor went bad. And so it's been remedied. Yeah.
I have 2 comments, Chuck,
Yeah.
in the Buildings Committee. At our last meeting, we requested, and I noticed on your slide, it showed a problem when you're reporting elevators that are acting bad. If you're in it, that's one thing. If you're outside, there were no numbers on many of them. So now all of them have been numbered. If you look way up high, there's a little white tag, and it'll say which building it's in and what the elevator number is. And that's very important as you file a work order. And secondly, I hear all the time, this isn't working, that isn't working. We have a work order system, and you can either go online, you can call, or you can go to concierge. And I would ask that all of you do that on these minor things that happen all the time. Because if you don't, they don't know and they don't get it fixed. And it goes on for days and days. I heard, that's been broken for 4 days. Well, did you put in a work order? Well, no. So work orders are extremely, extremely important. The buildings committee deals with big issues. They don't deal with the little ones. We always ask the residents to please put in work orders as soon as you know something is not proper. Not
And
right.
they're really easy to put in too. You can just call reception
Yeah.
desk. There's a really cool way to do it through your portal now. And you can
Online is
actually-
very easy.
Yeah, and you can track the work. It'll actually send you an email, let you know what's going on with the work order, which I really like.
But on the elevators, look up and see what elevator number it is when you put in your work order. That's gonna help them. Otherwise, they're gonna be looking all over for it. So it's really, really helpful. Thank you.
And that number is not in the elevator.
Yes,
it is.
On most of them, not all of them.
Oh, okay.
But most of it's on the panel, but you wouldn't necessarily find it.
Okay, but it's also outside.
Yes.
There is a national organization that provides an app that measures, a free app that measures decibels, and it's very easy to use. With the last alarm in the middle of the night, I measured 98 decibels over and over, and that's well above the upper limit as suggested. And I'm suggesting that other people use that app, record where they live and what they're at, what they're getting on decibels, and let's see if it consistently exceeds the limit.
Was that at the Annunciator or in your location? Like sitting in a chair across the room?
That was in my room, and I don't know where the Annunciator is.
Okay.
Yes, it seems all very well to say the concierge will help one get through the door in order to be able to get to the ground floor. Things that go on. There are many things that go on there, but you do not increase the number of concierges. You just put more loads on them, and then when one wants them, I waited this morning like 2 hours. Yes.
For what?
I said there's no big emergency, no.
For what?
For concierge to come to my room
To do what?
regarding that door. So I think that's a rather, it's a solution, it can be just stated nicely.
Well,
sounds good,
I think that
isn't gonna work.
there's a wellness aide as well, and there are 3 concierges on the campus, security, at all times. And we should be, between all of those folks, be able to escort a resident, and especially if there's 2 or 3 residents that need to get through that space, be able to escort them through that space. And we will work on that. Give it a try and see how it works. If it becomes an issue, we'll deal with it then. But let's give the system a try first.
Chuck,
Yes.
last Friday when we had 7 or 8 short-term fire alarms, you told us that was the system being tested. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And you said, did I understand you to say that this is going to occur again when they're going to do some more testing?
Yeah, we hope that it doesn't have to be as many, but there
Okay.
will be some more alarms
Okay,
going on.
could we ask that we have various systems for, and I realize even if you learn on short notice, could we be notified that this is gonna happen again, so that if we choose to
Okay, so we can do that.
that would
Would
be,
it be okay to announce it over the emergency call system? that
that's
we're
what I was
testing
gonna
the alarms?
suggest, we have that
Okay.
as an option.
Yeah, we can do that. Is everybody okay with that? Raise your hand if you're okay with that. Okay, good. In the past, we've been asked not to make announcements, but we will do that.
I don't have a question. I want to make a comment. My co-chair, Phyllis Waddle, and I very much enjoy putting together the newcomers receptions, such as the one we had last Wednesday, along with our fabulous welcoming committee staff. They work very hard along with the associates to present those. But today I wanted to give a shout out to all of you, because standing up in that group and looking out at how many of you showed up to welcome our newest neighbors was really heartwarming. I know many people are traveling or have other commitments, but you came out in just huge numbers as you've done before, and I just want to say thank you so much.
So give yourselves a hand. Thank you for that kind comment. You know, at one time, Westminster wasn't nearly as welcoming as you all have made it. Does anybody remember that? Am I the only one? Might be. It was kind of like a mean high school here for a long time. Anyway, yes, ma'am.
Chuck, talk about the emergency call system.
Yes.
Is there anybody else besides me who cannot hear when they call and say, you know, all clear?
Yeah, I think that's other people's problem too.
Well-
That's why we're making an announcement twice.
Okay,
And that's why we're supposed to speak clearly and slowly when we make the announcement. That's part of the problem. So we've been training the staff to be that, you know,
okay,
purposeful in their speaking.
okay, well, we have, so many complaints about things being too loud,
Mhm.
but this is definitely not loud enough.
It's kind of like microphones. You have to learn to use them. You know, you're speaking into a telephone on an older system like that, you need to speak clearly and distinctly and slowly.
Is there any way we can know what the status of an elevator is that has been out of service and when it comes back, for instance?
We could send out an announcement via the portal, if that would be helpful. So we could, I don't think we could put it out every day, but we could send out an announcement when an elevator goes down, and then when it comes back online.
One thing that would be very helpful when the fire alarm has gone off is to have the announcer say, we have an announcement, we have an announcement, and that allows somebody time to get near this speaker so that when they hear what the announcement is, they'll be there. So that might help.
Okay. We will add that to our education.
Who else have questions? More questions?
That's okay, don't force it out of them. They can have their 15 minutes back and so can I. I appreciate you all very much. Thank you very much.